Hello everyone, it's Almighty Swan here, and this video will explain what will be going on with the summer event that was just recently announced. Yay! After all this time, right, that I finally announced that what we're playing over the summer. Obviously this video is going to kind of explain on what's going to be happening over the summer. And I wrote about 8 questions down that will kind of address a lot of this stuff. There is one for like the surgery that I'm planning on later in the summer event. But we'll get into that as soon as we get there. But let's start with question 1. Now, before we get into question 1, obviously, the announcement is that I am playing the Soulsborne games. I'm playing through Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, and Bloodborne. Obviously, I've been really wanting to do this for a while, but I want to preface that really fast and kind of just say, hey, you know, this is what we're doing. Anyway, let's get into question 1. Am I going to be playing Elden Ring and Sekiro during this playthrough? I will say that Elden Ring is not on like the chopping block during this entire playthrough. I do want to play Elden Ring at the very end of the year though. And the reason why is because Elden Ring is such a massive game. It's kind of its own behemoth of a style of a game. As much as I love Elden Ring and I love the Soulsborne style of games, there has to be a line drawn, and that game is just so massive. It's going to take almost maybe a month and a half to finish, and I kind of want to finish this pretty soon, but I'll explain when later in this video. With Sekiro though, Shadows Die Twice, it might be in this whole block. And it really depends on when we get to Bloodborne. If we finish Bloodborne and it's DLC, then I might play Sekiro. I have it downloaded just in case, but we might end up playing Sekiro. And that makes a lot of sense because obviously SwansGaming will be coming up in October, and I kind of really don't want to split this whole thing up, you know, and stuff like that. But I'll explain obviously later in this video when I'm hoping the summer event ends. But let's move on to question 2. Funny enough, with question 2, how long is this summer event going to last? I am hoping that this summer event lasts all the way up to the end of September. There's a reason why I picked 5 of the Souls games. I know some of the Souls games, like Demon Souls, can be relatively short, especially if you played other Souls-style games. Usually, if you know what you're doing in Souls games, they can take about 40 to 50 hours a piece. So I'm hoping that we will finish this at the end of September, and then we'll go right into the second annual SwansGaming. That's pretty much it on this question. It's kind of very self-explanatory on when I want to finish. Obviously, when we start is June 2nd, and then hopefully by the end of September is whenever we will finish all of the Soulsborne games. But let's move on to question 3. Now let's move on to question 3. Will I be using summons in the game? Yes, I will be using summons in the game throughout this playthrough. Now there is a caveat with this. I'm not just going to pull up with summons and just summon them at any given time. Like, I'm not going to do that. Obviously, I've never played Demon Souls all the way through, so I do want to try a lot of the bosses on my own, you know, attempts. But if I do get into a very struggling, you know, part of a boss or something like that, and summons are available, I will be using summons. And that's not a bad thing at all. I don't personally think so. At least I'm going to try the boss on multiple attempts and really try to fight a lot of these bosses. There's only 2 games in the Soulsborne stuff that I haven't really truly finished, and that's Demon Souls and Dark Souls 3. I've never finished those 2 all the way through. All the other ones I did. So, that being said, I want to also have fun with these games, and I don't want to pull my hair out on 3 weeks worth of streams trying to fight one boss. I don't think that's fun for the viewer either, and it's not really fun for me. Like, if I was playing these games by myself, that'd be perfectly fine. But that being said, I think this would be the best route to go to. But yeah, I will be doing that. Now let's move on to question 4. With question 4, this definitely comes in with the surgery. Will the surgery affect the event in any way? Obviously, yes. It's going to affect the event, not in a big major way, but it will affect it in somewhat of a capacity, right? Obviously, after the surgery, I will probably be out for 2 to 3 days. I'm planning the surgery now in August. I did push it back from the end of this month to possibly mid-August. That being said, I'll definitely explain more about the surgery in my big June update at the end of next month. Obviously, if you're seeing this, it will be the end of this month whenever everyone sees this video. But that being said, I think that if I'm not feeling great, obviously in the next few days after the surgery, I will postpone the event until I feel better, because I should feel better before I do the event at all. Even if we are still continuing it. And then once I feel 100%, or at least I feel at least 75%, then we will continue the event and keep doing what we're doing. That being said, let's move on to question 5. Let's move on to question 5. Will there be new overlays and sound notifications for the summer event? Yes, there will be new overlays and sound notifications. Now, first off, all the sound notifications are from in-game, from Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, and Bloodborne. They're all taken from those games specifically. Some of them are boss music, some of them are just funny little things for like followers and stuff like that. That being said, I'm really excited to kind of let people follow and, you know, and show off the notifications and stuff like that. They're not a huge thing, but it does make the overall experience great. Now, for the overlays, yes, there will be new overlays. I'm really excited to show off the overlays. The Artist Elite stream, they have an Etsy that they did an amazing job on the overlays. I will also leave a link down below for their Etsy, so everyone can go check them out. Fantastic work, fantastic job, and I cannot wait to show this off on June 2nd. But let's move on to question 6. Let's move on to question 6. Now, question 6 is kind of interesting, but not kind of interesting at the same time. Will I be playing other games during this event? And the answer is yes. Now, whenever you see this video, I might be playing Cyberpunk 2077 or still playing Cyberpunk 2077. But we'll get into the next question with that later. So literally the next question. But what other games would I be playing? Now, why would I be playing other games? Let's start with that other one. Why would I be playing other games while I'm doing this whole big event? This is mostly because I don't want to feel burnt out by the time I get to Bloodborne. I remember even with Schwanoween, whenever I was doing Schwanoween, by the end of the month, streaming every single day a horror game is really draining, because even though each game mechanically is different, the games are almost similar in a style of, here's a jump scare, here's that. This is the same thing with the Soulsborne games, right? If you play Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, and Bloodborne, they have very similar way to play. Bloodborne's a little bit different because of the gun mechanic. But that being said, even then, the way you dodge, the way you move, the way you do things mechanically sometimes are very similar. It's one of those kind of statements, if you played one, you play them all. And that's kind of how it is. So obviously, maybe I'll play some linear games. I did think about maybe I should play Kingdom Come Deliverance. That's a drastically different game than the other ones. And I thought about playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey during the summer event too. Obviously, Shadows is coming out at the end of this year, and it's made by the Odyssey team. So I think that would be a perfect fit for that if we get to the time. But that being said, let's move on to question 7. With question 7 is going to be really quick and really short answered. Will I continue Cyberpunk 2077 during the summer event? With the last question that I obviously just answered, that, hey, am I going to play other games? Yes, we're going to finish Cyberpunk. I'm not going to leave it, just abandoned. Like I almost did with Baldur's Gate 3 during the Halloween event. This is a totally different event. And this also gives, obviously, the same last question, it gives me a fresher breath air to play a different game while I'm playing Soulsborne style games. Now, obviously, once we finish Cyberpunk, right, if we haven't finished Cyberpunk by the time you've watched this video, or see this video, then we'll probably move on to like Kingdom Come Deliverance or Assassin's Creed Odyssey, or maybe some other games, but I'm really feeling those 2 games particularly. But yeah, very quick answer, and let's move on to the final question, number 8. Now, question 8 is pretty much, hey, what is going to be the schedule for the Soulsborne event? Now, obviously, I need to get through 5 games before, obviously, Halloween pops up again. And I don't want to keep doing this. I think, like, June to September is still a perfect time. I know September is not really summertime, but we're going to count in there, too, and just kind of finish the games out. The schedule that I'm thinking of is every other week I will be streaming on a Wednesday. Now, unless something pops up, then I'll move it to the next week, or whatever happens. We'll figure that out whenever that time comes. But every other week I will be streaming on a Wednesday. That means two times out of a month I will be streaming on a Wednesday. I'm going to probably start around 6 p.m. PST, maybe 5:30 p.m. PST, so we can get a good, 6-hour chunk of these games in and kind of really, get these games moving a little bit. That being said, that is literally the last of the questions I have. Obviously, if you have any other questions, leave in the comments down below. But that being said, let's move on and let's wrap this video up. First off, I want to say thank you everyone for making my 1-year anniversary great. I had a great time playing the Ninja Gaiden games. I will say it didn't plan out the way I wanted to play all 3 games in 2 days. That didn't happen. I do think next year's 2nd year anniversary will be a little bit different. I have some different plans for it, but that's in the future, and that will be whenever I do my December update at the end of December. But like I said, thank you all for tuning in for that and making it a great time, and I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to do that again. next year. But that's pretty much ended this video. I obviously I gave you all updates on how this whole event is going to work, a little bit about my surgery, and so on and so forth, right? Like I said earlier, if you have any other questions, leave it in the comments down below, and I will try to get to them as soon as I possibly can. But that being said, I hope everyone has a great morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye!